Thank you, Jackie.
Okay, so we're going to need a whole bunch of markers of whatever kind you have. You all know, because I've said it enough times by now, these are my favorite because they are blendable. Then these are too. These came from Michael's, I think. They're not advertised as blendable, but you can blend them if you do it quickly after you put the color down. These are just regular colored Sharpies, and these will work. Any kind of markers you have and want to use. Also, I've got some colored pencils, and I've got all these. I'm running out of space. I've got all these technical pens, which I forgot to set out, but they're right here. So those look like this. Put that under my camera there. Just technical marking pens, whatever ones you have. I have, this one is not water soluble, and these are water soluble. The difference being, if you put water on marks made with these, it'll smear the ink around, and sometimes that's a cool effect. So I've got those. These are my white gel pens that I love to use. And I've got some other pens or marking. These are like really what we call them mark making implements. So anything you can make a mark with, whatever kind of pen or pencil or marker or anything. You can have crayons, you can have chalk, whatever you've got that you can make a mark with and want to use. So, and I recommend, if you can get one, get you one of these blending pens, because they're going to come in handy in a bit, and I'll show you that when we get to that point. Now, I couldn't figure out any great way to put a whole bunch of different references up here that's not my painting. So I decided to go with my painting, but I'm going to quickly just show you. Wrong envelope. I've got all this stuff lined out in front of me here like I'm doing a cooking show. Um, okay, this is what I've got, what I wanted to show you. We're going to start with something like this picture. This is very similar, although it's, flipped over. This is very similar to my bird on my painting that I've got going. But you can use any kind of bird that picture that you've got and want to use, because what we're going to basically do is we're going to put color down. Where's this thing? We're going to put color down right here, and then we're going to put a little bit more color here and a little color here, and we're going to do that um, without drawing anything on our paper. This is like the people that want to go to a painting class and not have to draw anything. This is the perfect class for those people, because we're not going to draw. We're just going to put color. And so I'm going to flip through these really fast just to show you. Let's zoom in. It's basically a color in a section here, and then a different color for the wing. And if you're doing a fancy one, you just put the colors where you want them to turn out. This is red up in the face area, and light color here, and brown down the back. This is another one that I love. This one, and see how it's a nice little ball shape. We're just going to basically put some little color there and put some color there in a sort of roundish shape. This is one that I love because this one works out really easy. And what I should be doing right now is showing you. I've got all these leftover samples from doing this class. This one, well, let's start with this one. See the how they relate there? I just put a big blob of this pretty salmony color here, and I put a little black here and a little black swished out for the tail. And then I went back in and started drawing with markers and tweaking it and turned it into the bird. This one was that, I'm sure you recognize this one as being this one right here. This is all we're going to do with the watercolor paint. We're just going to put a little color on there. And then I'm matching up. I got some blue gray here. Okay, so I put some blue gray. Then I put a little bit of red for the back end of him and a little bit of yellow over the top of the head. And that is all we're going to do with our watercolor paint. So this is going to be a deal where you got to be really free. And I wanted to just flip through these and show you real quick. This is one where red and then blue. This is a yellow and black one. And see, I haven't gone to a lot of extreme to really get this drawn exactly like that bird, because you don't need to with this um, project we're going to do. Look at how silly this one looks. But once all the markers and stuff are put on there, this is going to be a cool looking thing. And this is one to show you what not to do. So I'm going to keep that one out. But quickly, here's just these other pictures. You can make a whole yellow bird and then just go back with your markers and put the details on. So you might, to do this one, you would just put sort of an egg-shaped yellow blob of paint on your paper, and then we let it dry. This one, you would make your yellow blob shape, and then you would put a little bit of black, just, with your brush, just fling it out to the end there, and that's the tail, and put a little dot right up there, and that's its head. And that's all you got to do. It's really easy and really fun. So putting all of this aside now,
Are we painting vertical or horizontal?
whichever way you want to do. I've got different samples here, see? So I think if you're going to do the little robin like this that I'm doing, you probably want to keep it horizontal or landscape format, but that's really totally up to you. Now, see, what was I going to show you? That I put that thing away. Where did it go? This one. Okay. Two things real quick. What you need to know before we actually put paint on our paper. You don't want to get this much detail. This is like a different project. All this detail in here. So you can see how I've painted a lot of stuff in this little bird. And I did all that with paint. That is a different project. This is not today's project. We're not looking for this much detail. So don't get stressed. Same here, too much detail. Now, this one is where someone in one of my classes painted this and they didn't like it and they couldn't figure out why. It's because they didn't pay attention. When I first tell you to start, we're going to dip our paintbrushes in water, and we're going to put water on our paper, and then we're going to put color in that water, and it's going to blend together. If you don't put water on there and you just start putting color on your paper, your colors are not going to blend together. They're not going to melt into each other and make that beautiful watercolor magic that we love to see. So this is because the person that painted this didn't wet their paper and put paint into wet paper. So please keep that in mind when we're painting. All right, now is everybody ready to paint? I saw somebody had a hand up, but I'm hoping they will put their question in the chat so Julie or Jackie can answer your question for you, or ask me if it needs be. Okay, so what we're doing, I've got a round paintbrush, some clean water. It's out of my frame here, but see, I've just got clean water. I'm going to go in that clean water, no paint at all. Then I'm going to just put a little circle of color. And this is where I need to have my reference photo where I can see it. Okay, so because I'm having my little bird face that direction, I'm going to put some water right up there. That's where I'm going to put red. Then I'm going to have this go down in here where I'm going to put some brown. Then I'm going to put his wing on him right there. Now, if I can tilt this so that you see that sheen on my paper, that's where the paper's wet, and that's where I'm going to put my paint. So I just want to have plenty of water on there so my paint can run around on this paper. Now I'm going to get some, I'm going to get some red paint, but I want to tell you guys something. All of this on here is dried on my palette. I don't have pre-mixed colors today. I'm going to go over here and get some red, and I think I'm going to use my Scarlet Lake. And then I'm going to just find a place on my palette that's clean and can do that. And I'm going to go right here because that's sort of red. So just right there, and I've got some red paint going. And I don't like that color, so what can I do to it? I flung paint across my paper already. Let's see. I'm going to just mix a little bit of another color in here. And if you want to know exactly what colors, I'll tell you. But I know many of you are not working with the same colors that I have, so it may or may not do any good to tell you my colors. So I'll just wait for you to ask me what they are. But there, I just put a little bit of, in my wet area on my paper, I put some red paint right there, right into the wet area. And it's bright and pretty. Now I'm going to rinse that red out of my brush, and I'm going to pick up some, I want a tan sort of color. So I'm going to use, well, I was going to say yellow ochre, but I think I'm going to switch to, yeah, let me get that out of there. I'm going to go with raw sienna. A lot of you may have raw sienna in your uh, in your paint palette, because a lot, well, almost all of the beginner paint kits have raw sienna in it, and if not, they have yellow ochre. That's that mustardy yellow looking color. But I'm using raw sienna. It's very similar, but a little bit darker. And I'm going to just put that color right in this bottom area here, and just push it up into the red a little bit, and push it towards the back. And that's all of that I need to do for that. And I'm not being careful where I get it, and I'm not trying to smooth it all out. You don't really want it smooth. Let me just zoom in and see if I can show you here. It's not smooth. It's kind of darker over here, and darker right there, and lighter here, because of the way I laid it down with my paintbrush. And what you want is, you do want a little variation happening. And also, you don't want to put the colors down. Let me see if I can find a sample area to paint. This one's, I've almost sampled this one to death here. But what I don't want you to do is have red right there, and then put your yellow here, and then kind of move them back. Don't do that. Don't try to blend them yourself. What you need to do is put them on there. Get another spot here. Put them on there, your colors, and put them beside each other, and let them run into each other on their own. See, I am going right up against that, so I'm making the yellow touch the red, and then they're going to just run together on their own and do their watercolor magic. And you don't need to rub your brush back and forth. If you do, you get one all the same colored spot, and it isn't pretty. And depending what colors you used, you might get a big ugly brown, gray, muddy mess. The reason why is because you tried to blend it yourself. We don't do that with watercolor. We let the watercolor do the blending for us. And in some ways, your painting is going to take over and paint itself for you. Now, I've talked too long, and my paper got a little dry right here, so I'm going to just re-wet that. And then I'm going to get some dark color. And you all know I don't like to use black straight out of the tube. Excuse me. If you do that, it's going to be too stark, and it won't look pretty. So I'm going to take a little bit of my Winsor Violet, and I'm going to put it right into this leftover puddle of raw sienna, and it's going to start turning into a dark color, or a neutral color. And then what I'll do is I'll add, let's see, that's Winsor Violet and yellow. Let me add a little bit of this emerald green I have over here. And that's not getting me quite the, well, yeah, there we go. It's looking darker colored. It's not a very warm dark, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow, and that warms it up, and it's a really nice gray. Now, this one isn't dark enough, so I would need to mix a lot more pigment with less water to get it as dark as I want it to go. There we go. That's a greenish dark color. So add a little bit more of this raw sienna, and there I've got a really nice color going. And I'm going to just lay that down right on the back of that bird there. Just a couple of strokes. There you can see what I did. I just put a couple of strokes down. Now I'm going to take it up over here a little bit and put a little bit of a bump for the head. And that's all I really need to do for that. In fact, I don't like that part sticking down around there, so I'm going to blot that out with my paper towel. And my painting is done. And it already kind of sort of looks like a bird, but there's no definition there at all. It's just kind of blobs of color. But that's exactly what we do with this project. So I've rinsed my brush and set it down, and I can put my paint palette aside. Now, I will tell you, while I wait for this to dry, the reason why I don't use a blow dryer. I don't like to use the blow dryer because, in my opinion, that air from the blow dryer pushes the pigment around on the paper. Now, if I wanted to do that, because like those remember the watercolor tie-dye letters we did where we were blowing on our paint to move it around on the paper? If you want to do that, the blow dryer is great for that. But when you want your paper to just dry quickly and you don't want the paint to move all over the place, you want it to stay pretty much where you put it. If you use the blow dryer, you're risking your blow dryer blowing the paint around and blowing the pigments. Some of the pigments are granulated, some of them are stained, and if you've got a really prettily granulating paint on there and you use the blow dryer on it, it's going to have an effect on where your paint goes and how it lays on your paper. So that is the reason I don't put my paintings in front of the fan or point a blow dryer at it. You get to make your own decision if you're going to blow dry yours or not. Right now, I will also tell you, we need to let this dry before we start coloring on the wet painted area with markers, because the markers get in that wet area and they won't work right, and then it kind of kills the markers. They won't work right anymore ever. So we don't want to draw into this with markers while it's wet. But we got all this area around here that we're going to do something to. So looking at my painting sample, you can see actually I put a branch for him to stand on. We could do that. I think I'll do that. I'm going to just pick up, I'm going to get some more of this raw sienna that I was using. And looking at this thing, I'm going to just say oops, there's a little fuzzy in my brush. I'm going to say, okay, he's standing on this twig or branch, and it just goes kind of like that way. And then it needs a bottom. So I'm going to get a little bit more purple into my dark puddle there and run that right along the bottom. Now he's got a nice twiggy standing on, just that easy. Once we get started working on it with the markers, we can add more color into that twig if we want to. But that's really enough right there. Okay, now I really am done painting. Okay, so putting that brush down, and I'm not going to put the lid on my palette because in theory I'm done, but in reality I could decide in a minute I want a little bit of certain color in a certain area and add it with paint. But we're going to start putting all of these are berries and twigs and leaves and little tiny flowers and just miscellaneous stuff that as I was drawing, I just started drawing like when you doodle, you just kind of whatever idea comes into your head, you put something there. That's how I got that picture done. And I have been able to look in all my pattern books and on the internet and stuff like that. I found all kinds of pattern. So I wanted to just show you, if you're lost for an idea for pattern, all you got to do is look around you. Pattern is everywhere. This is a really cool little piece that I got. Let me zoom back in again. This is something I found in one of my pattern books. I've used it a lot of years. that's why it's all wrinkly. But it's kind of like antlers done in a really cool Celtic knot design, and I like that idea, so I use that sometimes. This I found years ago when I was coloring with my kids, and it's just some little ideas of filling up areas with pattern, which is the basic premise of Zentangle. Um, is to take an area and fill it with pattern. But again, here's those antlers in the Celtic design. I've got little butterfly wings and little flower shapes and leaf shapes. And let's see if I can find something else here. This is a cool pattern. It's really for holiday because it's Christmas lights. But isn't that a cool little thing to just draw some little lights around on your paper? And this is a mermaid I'm working on, so she doesn't count. Came out of one of my Celtic design books. So it's just different pattern that I might incorporate somewhere into my picture. And oh man, I have too much stuff in this hand. I'm dropping it. This one is little flowers and swirly, curly Q things of different designs. This one looks like a rose. This one has a heart in the middle of this daisy petal thing. This is a one that I like a lot because it's just little lines with a circle with swirls on the end of it. This one is something that would have these little lines coming up and a dot at the end. This is just swirl lines, leaf petals. There's just so many different ideas. And here you can see swirls with circles that look maybe like grapes or something. And this I just put in here because sometimes you can find pattern. Let me zoom out. So you can find pattern everywhere. And this is just a magazine that comes in the mail. And I look through this and I can see, look at all the pattern on that page. So I can find ideas from that. That's what we're going to do. We're going to just start finding ideas. Here's another thing that has all these different kind of swirls and vines with leaves, and there's a circle with just some lines across it. And this is circles within circles with little leaf petals on it. I hope you can see it good enough. It doesn't look very big on my screen. But anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. Anywhere you can find pattern. This one I love because it's got a whole bunch of different pattern on it. And these, I just went on the internet and typed in texture. These are, this is wrapping paper. So you can look at at wrapping paper. You can look at all kinds of stuff. And look how pretty that is. I wouldn't draw this exactly on my paper, but I could take different elements out of that and include them on my piece. And the rest of this is just stuff that's really kind of too big. But anyway, that was just to show you the idea of, it's going to fall all down the back of my desk here. The idea is we're just going to get some pattern and start drawing. And I'm not going to draw this all on in pencil and then go back and ink it. We're going to have to just do this thing called owning your marks. We're going to get a pen and we're going to just jump in there and start drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these pens. Let's see, this one's a little bit wider. I'm going to just take this pen and I'm going to say, I want something going like that. And then I need a larger thing, a larger mark. So let me get a bigger marker and I'm going to just really put a mark on this piece of paper. And then this is going to have leaf shapes. So I'm just going to draw some on there. And then I want them to be colored in. So I'm going to color them in. This is a permanent marker that I'm using too. If I were to switch to a dark marker in one of my marker sets, now I can put this mark on here and fill that in with this marker. Then I can go back with my blending marker here. This one isn't going to blend very much, the permanent marker, but this one that I just put on there blends. You see how that moves that color around? So I can create shading with the color that was on there from the marker. And that's how I created a lot of the shading that is down in these areas. I put the color on there, and then I went back with the blending marker and moved color around. And I found that I could even, to a certain extent, move some of the watercolor paint that's on there. This right here, this little dot, is where I accidentally flicked some paint out of my palette over onto my paper. I can take advantage of that and use my blending marker. This one's kind of worn out. Let me get a new one here. You kind of need a big table to do this because you got a lot of stuff going. But look at that. I just, there we go. I just used my blending marker right on that little dot of watercolor paint, and I made a berry right there, sort of. Looks like a berry to me, so I'm going to turn these into berries. And then what I will do is take one of my pens and just decide I'm going to have some little berries hanging down right here. And right now I don't know where they're hanging from, so they're just going to hang in space till I decide what else I'm going to put there. But this is the kind of way that this gets created. And let's see, let's have, let me just make a few more berries here. And I think we might have a leaf on the end of that vine. And then let's put another berry right here. And those are hanging from something that's out of this picture there. But this is just, you know, I would just continue going on like this, working like this, and putting all this stuff that I have in the sample picture that we have for the reference right over there. All of that stuff, you just start throwing it in there and making it up as you go. You're creating as you go, and it's kind of intuitive to do that. You're just going to put a mark down there, and that mark is going to lead to another mark, which is going to lead to another mark, and another idea, and another cool thing. And you watch this thing in front of you kind of come into being as you create it, just out of your head. And it's relaxing, it's therapeutic, it's fun, and you end up with a beautiful piece of art. So it's pretty awesome. And I want to show you here, I'm going to put dark color right on that side. And then I'm going to take this blending pen and just kind of blend that out to fill the rest of that leaf. So that's another idea you could do too. Oops, I didn't have it zoomed in, so maybe you couldn't see what I did very well. But this one right here, it's almost like it's not a solid color. It's got some sort of shading. And I can even pick up the color that's over here and move it over here inside of this one and color that one in like that if I wanted to. And this works with every color marker I have. And I can also blend different colored markers. Let's see what I want to do here. I'm going to find a green pen. Just put that right there. Okay, so I'm going to take this green pen and I'm going to color in this one right here on the end. Then I'll blend that color out. And while it's still on my marker, I'm going to put some over here. And then I'm going to spread that out. Now the color that's there is a grayish green, and it's really pretty. And I will probably fill a lot of area with that sort of color. Now I have another little tiny dot of my red that got splashed over here. So I'm going to put a red berry right there. I'm going to make that this bright. Nope, too bright. I'm going to make it this color. And I'm going to just make a whole bunch of little red dots back in here. Don't know why, but right now it seems like the thing to do, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to just push those into the paper real nicely. This is the marker that one's been heavily used. So there's those, really nice. And while I've got that red that was on there is now on this end of this blending pen. It's kind of similar to when you pick up paint with your paintbrush. You can just move it to a different spot on your paper and lay that down here. If I don't want to put that color over here, I would need to wipe it off on my paper towel before I put the marker somewhere. I mean, before I put this, use this on some other spot. See, I wiped it off there and it got a little bit of the red color onto the paper towel. Now this is clean and ready to use for whatever I next want to use it for. And I am just getting markers spread all over my table. Markers are everywhere. They're falling off the table. So I'm going to organize just a smidgen. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
So far, there aren't any in the chat section. So if anybody has any questions, unmute yourself and ask.
Now's the time.
What's the name of the blending pen? It's just a separate pen you buy?
It's a Tombow brand. So this is the brand right here, Tombow. And these sets come with one of these in it, but you can buy one of these separately. And it comes with this and a little blending guide, some information, and a paper that you can use for blending guide and all of their colors. And I don't have it out here right now, but it comes with a really teeny tiny spray bottle, smaller than this. Like it comes with a spray bottle that's the size of my chapstick. But it's for wetting the surface so that you can move the marker even more. And all of that information is right in here, tells you something about how to use it. And it comes like this with the little tiny spray bottle in a kit by itself. And it is the same brand as these, Tombow. One of these days I'm going to call them up and tell them I'm promoting their markers so much they need to pay me royalties or something. They need to pay me a commission. That's what it is. Anyway. So I'm just opening all these up so I can get to my colors good. But I think I'm going to go ahead now. My watercolor paint has dried sufficiently that I can start putting some marks on there. So, oh, excuse me while I crawl up on my table. Okay. I'm going to, I think, take this pen here, one of my darker, my technical pens. It writes black. These do come in colors also, by the way. So let's see. I'm going to start putting some lines on to the bird. And let's give him an eye. He needs an eye, let's see, right about here. I think I made it too high, but it's going to work. And then he'll have a beak. It's going to come out right here somehow. There, so you can see what I'm doing. So I just put little lines there, and then I'm going to put the indication of a little bit of feathers. But you know, you can do this with a different color if you don't want to do it with black. I happen to like the way it looks to have black pen or ink marks in with my watercolor. It's just a style that I like. So that's why I do that. But you're welcome to do whichever version you like. Now let's see, I'm going to figure that he needs a little bit of delineation of his wings here. So I'm going to just put some marks, and I'm kind of making it up as by looking at an actual picture of a bird and kind of looking at how the paint dried on my paper and following along with what's here. Like this to me looks like a nice little wing or a feather part right there. So I'm going to just emphasize that, which is one way that I said, you know, your paint will kind of take over and make your painting for you. This is how it does that. I'm looking in here into the way the paint dried and emphasizing some of this stuff that I saw here and getting these nice feather shapes going, and just putting some nice lines in here for the tail and for the wing. And again, I'm making this up as I go. This pen has decided not to write very well. But I have millions of them, so I'm good to go. Yeah, this one makes better marks. Now I want to show you around the eye up here something we're going to do. I'm going to take, let's see if I can do it with my blending pen. I can probably lift, yeah, it's working perfectly. See, I'm using that to lift that watercolor paint right up from there. So I'm picking up color. You could also do this with a paintbrush. It's the lifting technique where you use a clean, wet paintbrush to pick color back up. But I just picked all that color up with this blending marker. Now, one thing I will tell you, if you don't have really, really good paper, and you do too much of this, it starts picking up the fibers of your paper. And I'm getting a little bit of that happening right here. So I want to be a little gentle with these on this paper. Now I'm going to let that dry just 10 seconds maybe, and then I'm going to wipe the little bit of pills off there with my paper towel, and then I can go back in with markers and put this eye on in a nice way that gives me this nice eye with the highlight in it. So that's what I'm working on right here. And then I can also use this thing to kind of move a little bit of this color out of that beak area. And then if I want to put some yellow right in there and I clean that black out, that works good for that. And I'm also able to get some little feathery kind of shapes starting to happen with this marker blending pen. And I've got a nice big cauliflower right there. Made a little bloom happen, and I'm going to use that some way. Right now I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to incorporate that somehow into my drawing and make something pretty happen. And I think that I'm going to find my robin actual picture. I'll put that out here where you guys can see it so you can follow and see what I'm doing. This one right here. See the lines in the tail? I'm going to put something like that in here. My painting is not exactly the same shape as this reference photo, but it doesn't really need to be. I'm just looking at that and seeing how we've got different layers and things going on, and so a lot of straight lines. I'm going to make this one be straight lines right here. And I'm going to put some lines like this in here. And I'm going to put a bunch of lines right in here and make a dark spot. Then I'm going to put a bunch of lines right in here and make a dark spot right there too. And then I think I like that shape, so I'm not really sure what I want to do with that yet.
Can you move the camera down a little bit?
Oh, like that?
Yeah.
Or do you want to see this? I
No,
have it really zoomed in.
just the way you did it is fine.
Right, okay. Some of these lines are a little too dark. So
Christine, if you
yes.
have a chance, could you hold the reference photo back up again so that they might be able to get a screenshot of it?
The one that I painted, or the real bird?
Well, how about both?
Okay, here's the real bird.
Thank you.
Y'all will have to say when.
Decide if that birdie's cold or if he has an attitude.
Um,
That
maybe
should
a little of
probably-
both. Little
that
of
should
both. He's
probably
really
be good
cute,
for
isn't he?
Anybody trying to get a reference shot.
Okay, is that good? We
I
go
think
to the
that's
next
probably
one?
fine.
Okay, then here's this one, and let me zoom back out so you can see all of it. But I think I did send this one. I sent this one to Julie, and also you can go on my website and find it,
Okay.
because this is a painting I have for sale. I have the original on my website, and then on my other print on demand sites you can buy prints of this. This is a fine art print right here.
I think that's
Yep.
probably good. Thanks, Christine.
Okay.
Yep, and this was, everybody received it in their email because it was on the flyer, that one.
Just I hope you won't print it out on copy paper and put it in a frame on your wall. my print prices are pretty reasonable. Contact me, I'll sell you one for a good price. And it's a fine art print on watercolor paper with archival inks. It won't fade, it'll last you good, and we'll all be happy. Okay, so this pen is, if I've got the right one, yeah, this one is sepia color. So I'm going to make some marks on here with this pen that are not going to be quite as stark as that, because especially down here in this lighter area, I don't want quite as dark of a line. And this is just indicating, okay, there's feathers here or something. And I don't have to draw every single feather, just a little bit to make it pretty here and there over him. And so we can see what it is. And then he needs some legs. He's levitating over top of his branch here. So I think I'm gonna use the paint and put him some legs on. Today that seems like the thing I want to do. And I'm gonna make him stand in here in kind of a funny way. This leg here and this leg here. There. Now I'll emphasize that a little bit more with markers once that's dried. My bird looks like he has been having lots to eat. So he's going to be fat and sassy.
Chris, could we zoom in a little on what you're doing?
Yeah.
Thanks, sweetie.
Okay, now I'm going to work on his eye a little bit here. And I'm going to lift a little bit more color on the outside of the circle that I made and make it a little bit more of an eye shape. Then I'm going to take one of my dark markers. I think I'll use this dark brown. See how that looks. Just put some color in there, but being very careful to make sure I leave some white because I want that highlight to stay there. And when the marker hits that paper, it kind of spreads out a little bit. So I touched in a little bit of marker and then I wait to see how much it spreads out, because you can very quickly have the whole thing full of color again and no highlight. And it's very important for him to look happy that you get that highlight in there. So I like how that looks. He looks cheerful. And I'm going to put just a little bit of light a grayish color on the bottom of that beak. I got a bit sloppy and went out of the line right there. Can you see that? Let's zoom in. See where I'm outside of the line? That's not a problem though, because my blending pen will lift that right up. I could also do that with my wet paintbrush, but this thing gives me really precise control. So there we go, fixed that little boo-boo. And now he's looking cute, and I think I'm going to put a little tiny bit of a yellowish color. Maybe I will, where'd my brush go? Paintbrush. Maybe I will use some of this same color I had here on the underneath of him. Although that's looking a little bit browner than I want it to be. Once I find a good color, I'll just slide a little bit of color right on the top of that beak there. That looks good. And I'm going to just drag my brush through this miscellaneous green mess on my palette and just put a little bit of green on some parts of this twig, just for some added fun. And because I can, I'm going to pick up some of my reddish color and drop just a little bit of it on over here. For no reason other than that I think it might be a good idea, so I'm going to do it and see. Most of this is just experimenting and playing. But that is intuitive art right there in a nutshell. So it's a whole lot more of this. And if I talk the whole time, I don't get great marks on my paper. So I'm gonna spend a little time here coloring, but please feel free if you have a question to speak up and ask. And also, if anyone is ready to show their progress so far, speak up and I'll pin yours to the screen so everyone can see. I'm just feathering this out right here. So I've got a lot of color right up there near the spine of this fern leaf or whatever it is. And then I just spread it out and feather it out to thin, coming out.
You're using your blender?
Yes.
If we don't have a blender, do you have a suggestion?
A wet Q-tip will do a little bit of this,
Okay.
and also a slightly damp paintbrush will do this. Let me just see if I can show you with I've got a small paintbrush over here somewhere. So this is a very small round brush, and I put water on it and dry most of the water back out of it. And then if I go over in here, it's moving color around a little bit, not as much as the blending, not as much as the blending marker, but you see how the water gets a little bit of that color and moves it out. So this is just a wet paintbrush doing this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you originally paint those things with paint though, or
No,
marker?
this is marker.
And some markers won't do that, right?
Some markers are made to do it specifically, and other markers are not really made to do it, but they will if you get to them quickly. This marker set right here is not made to blend like this, but let's see, let me figure a color I want to put out of here. Let's take a little of this color and put some in this leaf. Now, if I get to that quickly with my blending marker, I can blend that out, even though it's not made to do that. See, I'm just picking that color up and putting it wherever I want it to go. You have to get kind of quickly on these markers because they're not made to do that. But it is, you can make it happen. Hopefully that was in the screen. Did I just tell you all about the thing and think I was showing it to you and I didn't?
No, you showed it.
Okay, good. Zoom back out. So You can see. Okay, so it does work with the wet paintbrush. I just really like the control that I have with these things. I am really detail oriented. So I like a lot of details and I like a lot of control, but I love watercolor, which is not really known for being a medium that you can control. So I sort of get the best of both worlds here by putting the watercolor on and then using these blending markers to move the color around. At least I tell myself that. This is also a project that I don't typically rush. I take my time with it, and I tell my husband that what I'm doing. Excuse me. What I'm doing is letting my piece talk to me and tell me what it wants to have in it. And he says, "You are so weird," and I have to say, "Well, maybe so," but it works for me. So I will step back and look and then put something in and then step back and look and put something else in. And this piece right here, our reference piece, my painting here, I think I probably worked on this for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's not that big of a piece. That print is larger than the original. The original is actually smaller than this one. But I just took my time and I worked on it different times of the day. When I felt like working on it, I would come back and do a little bit more. And then if I felt that I was at a point where I didn't know what to do next, then I just put it down and didn't do anything for a while and let it kind of gel there on the table. And when I had another good idea, then I came back and started working on it again.
Christine,
Yes.
I think I'm close enough to being finished.
So you ready to show yours?
It's on the screen.
Okay, let me unpin myself. And now I have to find you, so give me a second.
Do I have to keep talking until you can find
There
it?
you go. Okay, where is the... I can't find the thing to let me pin you there. Keep it up there for another minute.
Oh, really nice work.
Okay, there's Mary Ann's.
It's
Very
beautiful.
pretty. Ooh, I like it.
Oh, thank you.
And I saw that Barbara had hers up, so let me see if I can find Barbara again.
Great.
What if we went to
There's-
gallery view so that everybody could put theirs up?
Well, I have it, but I kind of like to enlarge some of them. Look at that.
Barbara's so nice.
Very pretty. I like to make them big so we can see them good. So now let's see. Here's one being held up. I think.
Cool.
Look at that one. Who's this? Nancy. Very nice, Nancy. Unusual and nice. That's really cool.
Wow, I like it.
Any of them, why?
Okay, let's see. Here is Anne.
Oh, those leaves are nice.
No, we always see Christine's. if the people talk, then their
Oh.
painting will be on the screen.
My fault. I'm clicking the wrong thing.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't think you're spotlighting. I haven't seen anybody's yet.
Okay, sorry. Let me
I didn't
undo
see
that.
Barb.
I was clicking the wrong thing. That's my fault. Let me get, because I have to click
Barb,
on
that's
view
your
and switch to gallery view and then go find the person. So let's see, where is, you didn't see Mary Ann's?
No.
Okay.
Now, if everybody puts theirs into gallery view
There.
and clicks off the, okay, never mind.
I know how
Very
to do
nice,
it. I
Mary
just
Ann.
was doing it wrong. So this is Mary Ann's.
No. Oh, I'm seeing Nancy Morrow's.
Uh, okay, well, I clicked spotlight for everyone and it didn't work. We'll just do what Jackie said and go to gallery view, and hopefully
And hold them up.
when there's this many of us, it makes them really small, but
Lynn, that's gorgeous. Lynn, it's beautiful.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is if we go to speaker view and as each person holds theirs up, it should put them
Wow.
right in the center.
Yeah, it's true.
okay.
No, I like gallery view. I can see everybody at the same
Well, I
time.
know, Mary Ann, but we want to see all of them up close for a second. So put yours back up so we can see up close and then we'll go to gallery. Okay.
So here's the plan. Everyone switch to speaker view. Does everyone have their thing on speaker view?
I don't know how to do that.
Up in the top somewhere is going to be a little thing that looks like boxes,
Gallery view?
boxes, and it says gallery view. Yes.
Okay, got it.
If you click on that, there should be a different option called speaker view.
Okay,
So you
Okay.
want to select speaker view.
great.
Good.
Once you
Us-
Nancy did her own bird.
Okay, once everyone is switched to speaker view, now let's have Mary Ann hold yours up and
Mine is up.
say something about it.
I was trying to use some little Zentangle things that I've learned, and I kind of liked the bird that she did to begin with, so I just kept the shape of it.
Great.
But I did
Okay, hopefully everyone saw Mary Ann's. Now, Nancy, hold yours up and then you talk. Except you're muted. You have to unmute.
I like your idea of just using blobs of
twice.
color. And this is actually the photo I was using as a guide. Because I've seen these birds, I don't know what they are. Does anyone know?
No.
Those are Muscovy ducks.
What?
Yes.
Muscovy duck. Muscovy.
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 I'll look it up
Like the
because,
Russian Muscovites.
okay, they're beautiful. Thank you.
Your interpretation of it in your artwork is beautiful. I like it. Okay, someone else? Lynn, I think you're there. You have to talk though.
Okay, this is my interpretation so far.
Love it.
Came out beautiful.
But a lot of my pens have dried out, my black markers, so I'm just using just this one thick, fat one and just doing it lighter in some areas.
It looks like it's working.
Yeah.
And then I'm back, I'm just using watercolor. That's my favorite. I just am picking other things. So I'll keep working on it. The bird, about that, but oh well.
I think he's cute. I like him.
Thank you.
Okay, Valerie?
I'm more of an abstract artist.
That's beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Now, when we're all saying we love it, it makes her picture
Right.
go
Hold
away.
it back
So
up, Valerie.
we have to be quiet while she holds hers up and tells us about it.
Basically, I don't do the little things because I don't like to do little things. I'm more of an abstract artist, and I don't even do birds or anything. So I love the color and watercolor and how it mixes. And thank you for the instruction.
Thank you. It looks really pretty. I love how your colors are modeled together, and
Valerie, we lost it. Put it back again, please.
well,
I was
that's
gonna take a
because I
picture.
talked.
I'm sorry.
Basically, he's hanging out.
Hanging out.
Looks
Okay,
beautiful,
perfect.
Valerie.
Barb, are you still there? And can you put yours back up again and talk?
Who?
Barbara Dixon? Maybe she's not there.
Or I'll go if anybody wants. I didn't do all the other things yet. I'm going to do them later when I have time. But this is the essential one that I did. And I mostly used pencil. I didn't use pen to make the lines.
Mm-hmm. But it looks pretty, and your bird is really cute.
Oh, thank you. Or tweet, tweet, I should say. Tweet, tweet, tweet.
It looks so nice, Elaine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm really sorry, Christine. I screwed up when you asked me and I hit the wrong button and it went away. So I don't know what I've done.
Well, you're there now. Keep talking.
Okay, I'm talking, and I've, maybe I have it on stop video. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you had it on video and we could see it, but you're holding it a little too close to the camera. Flip back just a little there. Now we can see the whole thing.
Oh, good. What I actually used was not just the watercolors, but Jackie got me into watercolor pencils. And I like watercolor pencils. You can be a little bit more, you can put different colors inside of each color. And I like the watercolor pencils. And then you put water on it and it goes wherever it wants to go. So, and I had fun. But I kept thinking, if I do any more, I'm going to screw up the whole thing. So I stopped.
Well, you got to stop when you think it's done. So that was smart. And it looked real pretty. I like it.
I like him too. Or her. Maybe it's her.
Okay. Anybody else want to show theirs?
I'll show mine, but I need some advice. I'm not done. You were very quick.
Oh,
he's cute.
But I don't like this black in his back tail. I don't know how that happened.
Well,
but he's coming along.
I don't see anything wrong with that black in the tail. It's just a shadowed area, maybe.
Okay.
Also, you can use your wet paintbrush, or I should say a damp paintbrush, and just lift that color back out gently. Excuse me. And take that black back off of there if you don't want it.
Okay, I'm going to try. I'm using something that I really like. If anybody has never seen, these are watercolor pens. I love the watercolor pencils, but these are watercolor pens, brushes, and they're beautiful to work with. Arteza.
Okay, thanks for that tip.
Maybe I'll get a commission too.
Yeah. Okay. I'm switching back to gallery view so I can look and just see if there's any. Oh, Roberta, you're on mute. So if you unmute and talk, then that'll enlarge yours for everyone.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't do a very good job with the bird, but
love your hearts.
I'll try it again. And
your doodles are great.
I like it.
I like it too, Bobby.
I keep forgetting to call you Bobby. I'm sorry. It says Roberta on my screen, and I just have a.
Bobby, Roberta, you went mute. I mean, you're muted, so we can't hear you. There.
it says now, it says mute.
Oh, well, now we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I messed up on the bird, but I'll try again. And
Okay. But I don't think it looks messed up.
okay. All right, whatever. I'm still working on all the background stuff.
There's a huge element of artistic license with this project. So
Yes.
we're not trying to necessarily paint realistic birds. We're just trying to paint happy birds or moody ones, or whatever thing you're going for. Maybe you're just
Okay.
going for colorful. But either
Well,
way,
actually, I thought I was using red and it was pink, so.
well, it
These are the
worked.
paints and they're not, there's no, I put them in a palette and it doesn't indicate what the color is, so.
Okay.
I don't know what and the paint doesn't even stick on the areas where you can blend the paints. I don't know why. Anyway, it'll have to work. I'll make it work.
So we have Diane Berman holding hers up now. So, but you have to talk, Diane. So you're.
I don't know. I was just also using some Zentangle things in the background, and that's all.
Very nice.
Okay, I'm going to switch back to gallery view, and anybody else that wants to can hold theirs up, and we'll look at everything because it's 2:24. So I think we need to be.
I don't think I saw Jackie's.
Here is mine, Mercedes.
Oh,
Oh, pretty Mercedes. I like it.
Thank
I
you.
have mine up. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, and that's nice.
Dame, Carlos. ¿Qué querés? No puedo. Genial. Dame.
They're all so great.
And they're
I
all
tried to make the
different and
bird
unique.
fatter.
Sorry, say that again.
When I went to do the legs, I realized that his body, his belly, wasn't fat enough or low enough. So I had a line there and I tried to go over it.
Oh, okay. But it works.
Yeah, it's okay. And then I added hearts.
Hearts are always a good thing.
Okay.
Ruth, yours is so sweet looking. Hold it up again. Aw, I like the color.
This just dripped all over.
Very nice.
Christine, before we end class, I just wanted to let everybody know once again, March 5th and March 19th will be the next two classes. And March 5th, we will be doing the dramatic sunset and skies. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. You do have to register, okay? It's important to register for each of the classes and you'll get the Zoom links to come on for each of the classes.
Are you going to send us the registration for this or what?
I'll send you, yes, I'll send you an email with the registration link for each of the two classes, but you have to do it for each of the classes to get on.
Okay, thank you.
So does everyone
Thank
want to
you,
hold their
Christine.
picture up and we'll do a screenshot real quick of the gallery view?
Sure. It was a pleasure as usual.
My bird is fat.
They're all fat.
They came out beautiful.
They really did. Came out so nice. The other thing that I wanted to say is that if you want to review this again, you can go to stirlingfriends.org and there will be a recording of it. And Christine also has a recording on her website. And Christine, what is that?
It's just my name, but my first name's Mary, so it is mchristinelandis.com. And you can go there. I have a links page and on the a links tab, and you go on the links tab and there's a link on there to my YouTube channel, and that'll take you right over to my YouTube channel, which if you search for me on YouTube, it's the same thing, M. Christine Landis.
Christine, I searched for you for the heart one that I missed last time, and I couldn't find you.
I don't have that one up yet.
Oh, that's why. But I did find your
I have
other
a hard time finding that one.
Yeah,
but yeah, once I get these up, I edit them a little bit.
Okay.
Instead of just putting the whole thing out there, because I'm trying to keep them where they're not too long. And a lot of times we talk business stuff. We talk about Stirling Road Library, classes that are coming up, and also sometimes we were giving out meeting IDs and passcodes, and I try to edit those things out so they're not out there on the internet. But anyways, I'm not real fast to get them up there, but they'll be there.
Okay,
And-
good.
So you can go to Christine's website or sterlingfriends.org and you can see these recordings. Okay, any questions from anybody? Because we're ready to end this meeting.
I just wanted to say thank you. I've learned a lot and I made lots of mistakes, but I'm game for another session.
Well, good.
And thank you.
That's what learning is
Thank
about.
you as well, Christine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great class.
Thanks for
That
coming.
was great.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Next time.
Bye, everyone.
Next
Bye.
time.
Bye. Julie, do you need me for anything?
No, we're all good. So
Okay, thanks.
thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Christine,
You're gonna
Yes.
send me the
Yes, Bobby.
photos.
you want to, I finished the other painting, if you want to
You
see.
finished your iris? Yeah, if Julie doesn't mind giving us just a half a second, hold up your irises. I want to see.
Okay, let me get it.
Christine, you're gonna still send me the photos for the flyer, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I want to make some specifically for the Stirling class. There's an issue with the one that I have with the horse silhouette in it. I need to make a new one, but it won't take me very long. And I want to do another one of the lighthouse to more obviously emphasize the difference in values and make the colors a little bit bolder. The picture that I held up and showed is okay, but I think I would like to do a couple of better ones, and I'm going to work on those this weekend. So you'll have them Monday morning if that's soon enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's good. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you made me fall in love with birds. So thank you. I
Right.
love your bird that you did. Bobby, that's gorgeous.
That is
you.
really pretty. She took my class last night, my paint party class.
Oh,
And we went for 3 hours painting. It was really fun and we were really into
I
it. But
forgot.
after,
Can I
after
see it?
3 hours, oh my goodness.
Can I see the Bobby?
So, you like it, Chris?
Oh,
Talk,
that's
Bobby, talk.
beautiful.
Bobby, that is so beautiful. Frame it and hang it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I will. I like it. It's
Hola,
not
Ida.
exactly,
Ahí
but
estoy todavía. ¿Vos estás ahí todavía?
it's not exactly what Christine did, but I have, I took artistic license.
And we're supposed to do that.
I
know-
have, I have to do that. I can't copy perfect. I can't do it. Even if I tried, I can't.
Well,
Oh.
when I paint the same painting over and over, they don't always come out
No.
exactly the same.
Of course
And they're
not.
not meant to, because it's art. So I
Right.
think yours is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank
It's
you.
something I would buy. Honestly, it's gorgeous.
Well, I'm not selling. But thank you. That's a nice compliment.
Go ahead, Bobby. Tell her the price. Tell it right now.
No,
No, but it's beautiful. Just keep it up.
By
Christine,
Christine's. By Christine's.
Yeah, go,
She's in business. I'm not.
take my paint party class. I have another version of the flowers like that on March 4th. And
Okay.
so
Really?
look on my website. You can do that
March
same class
4th?
on March 4th.
All right. Well, Tuesday, I'll see you Tuesday because I'm doing
Yeah.
the bird over.
Well, I'm just saying if Julie wants one, Julie,
Yeah,
you can
I'm gonna
pick
go
one.
look. I'm gonna go look and see.
Okay.
Well, maybe Julie wants to buy yours.
That's what I said. I'm gonna go look on her website.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
thank you.
girls.
Well, thanks
Okay.
much.
Nice
Thanks,
to see you.
Mercedes.
Thank you. Bye, Chris.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.